next speaker is Dr. Jaswinder Singh Maras, who is an assistant professor at Department of Molecular and Cellular Medicine at ILBS. His area of interest is clinical mass spectrometry, proteomics, metabolomics, and cell biology. He is a PhD in medicine from University of Delhi in 2013. His postdoc is from Institut de Biologie, Saint-Calais, from France, and then further from ILBS from 2013 to 15. He is
the compound, and how do we go about it? So Ayurveda is all know that it is the medicine for India. I mean, we have done and we are utilizing it, but modern day classification of such old medicine is needed, and everybody needs to know what are the molecular classification for a particular Ayurvedic component. So using the omics speciality, what we can do. So what we have done is we have tried to search certain metabolites and certain proteins that we could harbor in these Ayurvedic formulation, which may be giving you the medicinal effect. So we have tried to classify these compounds. So these are the proposed drugs we are going to work on, and most of them are very well known to you. For example, Guruchi, Amlaki, Rohitika, and Triphala, and Nimba, and other formulations are also, for example, Arogya Vardhini. So we intend to work on them. So going forward, the idea and the aims of the work is to first characterize the heavy metal profile in various Ayurvedic formulations. We wish to do multi-omic classification of Ayurvedic formulation, as well as the plasma samples of patients who are undergoing Ayurvedic formulation or taking Ayurvedic formulation, with the effect those who get benefits and those who do not get benefit. What are the multi-omics effect of that? We wish to correlate the heavy metal profile with the multi-omics profile and the clinical profile for estimation of the hepatoprotective or hepatotoxic effect. So whether there are hepatoprotective or hepatotoxic effect. And further, this is the very important point which we think is that chemical modulation of the hepatotoxic compound. So if we are able to identify or accurately characterize the Ayurvedic formulations or Ayurvedic drugs, we may be able to propose a revamp of the Ayurvedic medicine. So this is what we intend for. So we have this tie-up with the All India Institute of Ayurveda, and we collected the Ayurvedic compounds from the All India Institute, which they are prescribing every day. And we also use some commonly used Ayurvedic drugs, for example, Giloy, Shilajit, and other. In this particular work, we have compared these things. For example, we worked on the metabolic classification of Guruchi, Giloy, which is again the Guruchi but in the tablet form, the stem form, the tablet form. We worked on Shilajit, and we worked on the Arogya Vardhini Gutika. So the Arogya Vardhini Gutika is a formulation which also contains Shilajit. Therefore, the chemical classification was found to be similar. We will see. So the first is the Giloy. It is very well known herb. Everybody from last 2 years may be having this because of its antiviral effect, and it is being very popular nowadays. And it has an anti-diabetic, anti-tumor effect, and also known to reduce the AST levels. So it has an hepatoprotective effect. So the key known compounds which are known are alkaloids, dipeptinoids, glycosides, and others, aliphatic steroids. But what are them? What are these alkaloids? What percentage does they contribute to the Giloy? Is not known. Which of them has the highest percentage? What is the effect if Giloy has an antipyretic effect or an antiviral effect? What is that compound that is contributing majorly to the antipyretic effect is not known. We are giving Giloy. So there are many papers who people have worked on, and they have tried to classify these compounds. Again, Shilajit, which is very well known for its immunomodulatory, anti-inflammatory effect, and also it can work on HIV, AIDS, other things. But again, the molecular classification of Shilajit is also not known. So the key compounds in the Shilajit is particular heavy metal So these are the heavy metal compounds, and if you see, there are two types of Shilajit, the Afghani Shilajit and the Pakistani Shilajit. And then if you see, the amount of iron in them is very, very different. So all the metal contributes to various biology, and being working on the iron biology for many years, you can see that the Afghani Shilajit, maybe it is working better than the Pakistani Shilajit or whatever that means. So one has to have a clear classification of the Ayurvedic compound in the modern terminology. So being very new to this Ayurvedic biology, what we have done is we have adopted the omics technology to search what are the metabolites, what are the proteins that are there in these molecules. Okay. The other part is this Arogya Vardhini, which is having Shilajit as such, and these are the amount. But this is the only classification of the compound that is given. If you see, for example, if you take Guduchi tablet from Dabur, it does not give you what compound it has. It says Guduchi, that's it. It does not tell what all compound it has, what percentage it has, because there is no classification of that. So for that purpose we started this work. So what we have done here in our work, it's a very small effort which we have started. So what we have done is we have taken all the compounds, and we have, using the published technologies that we have done metabolomics, lipidomics and proteomics of these compounds. So all these compounds in the form of tablet or in the form of stems were crushed, they were sonicated, and then the supernatant or the crushed part were used to isolate metabolites, the lipid forms and the protein forms. So to search, it is very important, being a metabolomics expert here, it is very important that there should be a database. So there is no known database. So we have utilized the plant metabolome database, which gives us an idea of the alkaloids. There are two types of this, the secondary metabolites and hormones. Then the secondary metabolites are divided into alkaloids, which are different. There are many alkaloids, then phenolics, which are very, how many, and then terpenoids and other metabolites, and then there are many hormones. So when we annotated, when we worked on these compounds, we were able to identify 1020 compounds in the mixtures. And if you see that these are the subclasses and the classification of the compound, how many metabolites belong to which subclasses are here. For example, indole alkaloid, 126 metabolites which were of the indole alkaloids were found in different compounds. Let us see what we found. So whatever people found, whatever is known, for example, berberine is very well known to be high amount in the Guduchi. So we found berberine to be very much high in the Guduchi and Giloy tablet, that is what. So and other like fulvic acid and humic acid are known to be part of the Shilajit, and we found them to be very, very high in Shilajit and as well as in the Arogya Vardhini good vertica. Then we did the global metabolomics for Giloy tablet as well as the stem, and we compared whether the tablet and the stem is different, and can there be difference in the tablet, which is nothing but a mixture of grinded powder of stem given in a tablet and a stem which is not grinded, but you are freshly grinding it. So is there a difference? The metabolomic profile shows little bit difference. So the indole alkaloids in the Giloy tablets were higher, but the alkaloids were 60%, 61% in the Giloy tablet versus Guduchi is 57%. And if you see, the indole alkaloids is 36% in the Giloy tablet, and here only 15%. Let me go to the other part. If we compare the Arogya Vardhini to the Shilajit, so these, as Shilajit is a part of Arogya Vardhini, the comparative profile was similar. For example, the Arogya Vardhini has 55% alkaloids, and the alkaloids in Shilajit was 53%. And the other, for example, abscisic acid and other compounds were also similar. For example, 4.3, 4.7% here and 6% here. So if we see what are the alkaloids, what kind of alkaloids and what is the percentage of alkaloids. So the betaine alkaloids were higher in the Guduchi. In the Guduchi is basically the stem, and Giloy means the tablet form. So was found to be higher in the Guruchi stem, and indole alkaloids were higher in the Giloy tablets. So peptide alkaloids were higher in Shilajit. The arachidone alkaloids were higher in Guruchi. So these alkaloids was higher in the Arogyavardhani, and these alkaloids, there were different alkaloids for which were dipeptoid alkaloids were higher in the Guruchi. So if you see, there are different type of alkaloids, and the percentage varies for if you compare the stem as well as if you compare the tablet. So we found. So what are the key markers of the alkaloids? What alkaloids we have and how they are. So for example, this is a very, very important estimation where we saw that in terms of conicin, this is conicin which was found to be very much high in Giloy tablet, which is 10% and 11%. Conicin is known for its antipyretic effect. So conicin could be one of the compound why having Giloy you have degrees of fever. So therefore the percentage amount of conicin in Giloy was around 10% to 11%, which was not there in Arogyavardhani Gutika or Shilajit. Further, there are many compounds which we found and were also published, and people were also showing the effect of that. For example, one of them is conicin. If you see phenolics, then there were many phenolics which were different, like minor flavonoids, benzofurons, flavones, and you can see the different effects. For example, the flavones were very, very higher in Arogyavardhani Gutika, and quinones were very, very higher in the Guruchi as well as Shilajit, and tannins were higher in Shilajit and isoflavonoids. So we have a brief description of what are the key phenolics of these Ayurvedic drugs. So these are the key phenolics. The darker the color, the more percentage that compound is present in these comparisons. So you can definitely see that which compound has different concentrations in the sample. Again, we searched whether we have something which is published or are we getting something which is known, and we found that yes, there are published. For example, this plugment is published and it is known. Then we went and searched for terpenoids, the diterpenoids, the monoterpenoids, the triterpenoids, the phytosterols, the carotenoids, and the other terpenoids and steroids. These are steroid saponins. They were differentially present in the chemical classification is different. So the key compounds that they were there, for example, these steroids were 26% in the Arogyavardhani and 44% in this was 44% in the Giloy tablet. Again, we searched whether some of them have been known to be published and have an clinical approach, so we could find certain of the metabolites. Then we searched for the hormones. The next factor is the hormones, and we found that the ghrelins and the abscissacid and auxins and ethylenes were all different. The cytokinins were all different, and you can find different concentration of these cytokinins. So again we searched for other non-hormonal molecules which we could find, and we can see that the hormonal profiles were also different for different Ayurvedic compositions. Further, abscisic acid was known to be used to combat the pre-diabetic and metabolic syndrome. So other molecules which are there other than the other hormones which are significant were these other markers which were significantly present. For example, we could find some nicotine, we could find some carine, T-glucose. So these are all present in the molecule. So to conclude, the first part of our work is that we tried to do the metabolic classification of these Ayurvedic medicines, and we could find that the Arogyavardhani Gutika compared to Giloy in terms of tablet or Shilajit, the secondary metabolite composition has 89% secondary metabolite, and the hormones were 10% contributing to 100% of the Arogyavardhani. And if you see Giloy and Guruchi, they were kind of similar because they are same and they were giving similar profile. And these are the known or significant molecules which we could identify. We could pick one or two of these molecules now, and the next is to identify those molecules which are present in the higher concentration in these Ayurvedic compound and go for chemical purification of these compounds and thereby use them to see whether they are hepatoprotective or hepatotoxic and compare them to the native compound, whether the effect of that compound is more than the native compound, because the very important part is that Ayurvedic medicine is very good, but prolonged use of Ayurvedic medicine also causes problem, and therefore it is very important to identify what is the component that has the maximum utility in that Ayurveda, and if we could identify those components, we can make an Ayurvedic medicine which would be used for everybody. And for example, just for an example which we are thinking, that if we go and see conazine is known for its antipyretic effect. If we take out and purify conazine and make a tablet out of conazine and put conazine in front of crocin, you will get that conazine will have more effect than crocin and it would be non-hepatotoxic. So crocin, which is an hepatotoxic compound, maybe Ayurvedic manipulations could lead us to get better medicines which will have the non-hepatotoxic effect. So the project is continuing. We are very initial in the project, and I would like to acknowledge my boss, Professor Sareen, and my team and ILBS, and I'm ready for your questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Josie. It was a nice talk, especially when we know that in metabolomics there is no standard database when we talk about references, because proteomics and economics still proteomics and standard database are there, but not in metabolomics. So very nice work. The talk is open for discussion. We can take some questions quickly. Yes.
Just in the nice presentation. And also, like recently, there are many reports about Gila and its hepatotoxicity, and there was an article in Journal of Clinical and
that was retracted also for some reason. And then people are saying that Gila has a hepatotoxicity. See, there is, and the idea people are giving is, the Ayurvedic guys are giving. I'm not an Ayurvedic guy, neither I am an allopathic guy. I am a biochemist, which is trying to see Ayurvedic medicine and see what is there in it. So, what Ayurvedic guys are saying, that the species of giloy that they are taking is different. So, they are making it under species, but I don't feel that the species is different, is that the chemical composition is different. So, it is better to first classify the chemical composition and see what are the compounds that are present in that. So, at least, I would be very happy at least if our efforts in this coming 3 years makes giloy tablets having a detailed list of all these compounds, saying that the percentage of that compound is this much, and this is the accurate formulation for giloy. So the giloy should be tested for these compounds. Yes, it qualifies and then can be taken, rather than just taking it wherever and whosoever is getting. So this is what we think. I mean, as a biochemist, I think.
And also, like, there is a possibility of fungal contamination,
sure.
aflatoxin contamination.
Sure. There are. So therefore, as Manoj said, first, metabolomics, the databases are not available. The plant database of metabolomics is very difficult. And the other part is that we have to search it in multiple databases to see whether we have fungal metabolite, we have bacterial metabolite. For example, Shilajit is actually moss, which is growing and because of the bacterial. So one has to characterize whether that is a fungal concoction or that is a bacterial concoction that is working. We don't know, we're just having it. We are just taking it and immunomodulator, okay, let's eat it. But what is it is actually needed, and we have started, I don't know how much we can go forward, but this is just a neonate step towards the actually what we need to do.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Well, not how much, you need to keep going because that's important. And it's always a question that how much is too much. So we need to figure it out.
Thank you. Very interesting and I think very fruitful work. We are looking forward to your work and outcome. So very small query. You are trying to isolate different metabolites from them and trying to see if one metabolite can replace a conventional drug. Whatever I understood. So I was just wondering, is it a single drug which is working, or is it a combination of everything which is coming? If we take one drug, it might fail in its action. So
it's a systemic effect. Everybody says it's a systemic effect, and everybody knows it's a systemic effect. Now, one thing is, if it is a systemic effect, that means that some compounds are targeting some things, and some compounds are combining and targeting the other. For example, the immunoreactivity can be, down-regulated by combination of certain compounds. But we should know the combination. It is very important to know the combination. It's not that, okay, it's a systemic effect, so let's not study the. But if we characterize A to Z of that compound, then we will be able to know that A to F is immunomodulatory, F to Y is antipyretic, and then Z is actually doing nothing. So why to have Z? Maybe Z is having an hepatotoxic effect, prolonged use of Z. So just take out Z of that. That is revamping the Ayurvedic formulation. This is what we could understand.
No, it's very true, because it's combined effect. Whenever you are actually tweaking the backbone of any natural product, it's most of the time it's losing its impact. So
good form is working better than the isolated form.
yes, yes. Any more questions? Well, we don't have any more questions. Thank you, Jaswinder. Thank you for a wonderful talk. Thank you so much.